ॐ सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः, भद्रं पश्येम अक्षभिर्यजत्राः, स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवहितं यदायुः। स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः, स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः, स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः, स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यङ्करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। So let's chant Karika number 7. And in fact, I think what we will do is to chant all 3 Karikas, 7, 8 and 9, before we take a big pause for the mantra number 7 from the Mandukya Upanishad. Because all these 3 are similar in their treatment of the subject matter, so it would be good to lump them together. Although we will explain each one of them in detail as we go along, but let's at least chant all 3 of them. So, number 7. So I'll chant everything twice. Vibhutim prasavam tvanye manyante shrishti chintikaha swapnamaya sarupeti shrishti anyaihi vikalpita. Vibhutim prasavam tvanye manyante shrishti chintikaha swapnamaya sarupeti shrishtir anyai vikalpita. Number 8. Ichha matram prabhoh shrishtihi iti shristau vinishchitaha kalat prasutim bhutanam manyante kalachintikaha. Ichha matram prabhoh shrishtihi iti shristau vinishchitaha kalat prasutim bhutanam manyante kalachintikaha. Number 9. Bhogartham shristiti anye bhogartham shristiti anye kridartham iti chapare devasyaisha svabhavoyam aptakamasya kaspriya. Bhogartham shristitianye bhogartham shristitianye kridartham iti chapare devasyaisha svabhavoyam aptakamasya kaspriha. So in these 3 verses, these 3 shlokas, Gaudapada ji is drawing attention to what people think about creation. How do people think about it? What conclusions they draw? What kind of asakti or what kind of interest that they have to express their ideas about the Srishti. And then of course it would also talk about what the Vedantins say about the Srishti. But what the Vedantins say about the Srishti would be very well explained if we could see the context under which others try to explain Srishti. So this is the flow of it. So he says, number 7, Vibhutim prasavam tvanye manyante shrishticintikaha. So shrishticintikaha means people that think about Srishti. A lot of us, we don't really bother much about what is the creation, how did it come about. But I think sometimes in life, as you begin to think about the deeper meanings of life, the nature of creation, who the creator was, our role in it, all of those, it is very natural for people to draw certain theories, conclusions, as best as they can. So this is what he's talking about, Shrishti Chintika. Here Swami Paramarthananda has very nicely explained Shrishti Chintika as cosmologists, people who are very interested in cosmology. So there are different people who are interested in different things. Here it interests people on cosmology. So what they say is, now we have a variety of different ones to talk about. One of them is Vibhutim prasavam tu anye. Prasavam means a creation, one that certainly bursts into manifestation, like a chick that gets from the egg, how the chick comes about. So that's the prasavam. And some people think it is the power of the Lord, the glory of the Lord. And we also, in some of these, we also have a similar view, but there are some distinctions between what the Vedantic view is and the non-Vedantic view. So, for example, I'll just give you one example. Vibhuti is accepted, the intelligence for creation. I don't think anybody argues that Ishvara, God, is the one that has the power to think and create. But here, the power to think and create, for what purpose? This is where the differences of opinion begin to sprout up. They all agree that there is something going on, obviously, but the question is why? What is the purpose of it? So this is what is called Shrishti Chintika. So here he says, Vibhutim prasavam tu anye manyante Shrishti Chintikaha swapna maya sarupa iti. Just like you have a swapna, a dream creation, or maya. Here the word maya is a rather technical one, different from some of the other ones that we will do. So maya here means magic. Sometimes the same word is used for different meanings. So just like you have a magician who's able to, a hypnotist or a magician who's able to create things for you to see while we're not there. Magic. I mean, to this day, we can never really understand how suddenly from a hat a pigeon comes out. How this beautiful lady is cut into half. Who knows what the magician can do to create an illusion. So that's here the Maya really represents not our meaning of Maya, which we will go into more detail, but the more magic-like thing. So some of them say that it is like Swapna and Maya. This is how the Srishti is, and this is how it is Kalpita. This is how it is imagined to be. Okay, so this is just one aspect of it. Okay, if you want to just explain the meanings of all the three verses, let's do that. I think that'd be good. Number 8 was Ichha Matram Prabho Shishti. Ichha Matram. Ichha Matram means that Ishvara wants to do it, has a desire for the Srishti. Wouldn't it be nice if we had Srishti? This is what we call Ichha Matram, Prabho, of the Prabhu. Prakarshena Bhu. Prakarshena Bhu means the one that is always there, always shining, Ishvara. He has a desire to create. Iti Srishtau Vinishchita. They feel that Ishvara just wants to do it. And who am I to question it, stop it? We cannot stop it, we cannot question it. Just accept it. There's some kind of a desire on the part of the Ishvara, and this is how the Drishti is created. And the second line is Kalat Prasutim Bhutanam. Kalat Prasutim Bhutanam means that the Prasuti means the Prasavam, same word, similar word, the creation of the various bhutas, all people, things, and so on, is the result of time. So the most important thing, so this is what this view of cosmology is because of the astrology. This is the astrological view. The astrological view is that there is a system of time which governs how creation comes about and what the effect of the time is. And the astrology goes into a lot of detail about when this will happen, what the reason for it is, all because of time. So this is what is called Kalat Prasutim Bhutanam. Manyante Kalachintika. The people who are enamored with the analysis of the effect of time on things, they feel that Kalat Prasutim Bhutanam, the cause of the entire creation is really time. Then the last one, number 9, Bhogartham Shrishti tu iti anye. So some say that the creation is for the enjoyment of the Lord. Bhogartha. Bhoga means an experience, enjoyment. Bhogartham Shrishti tu iti anye. Kridartham iti cha apare. Others say that it may not be for the enjoyment, but just the play. It is fun to have a play. And so there in the play, as you know very well, so what's the difference between Bhogartham and Kridartham? So the Bhogartham would be something where you are eating some nice dessert. Kridartham means there is a play going on which has both Sukha and Dukkha. So you have somebody that wins, and for everybody that wins, there is somebody who loses. And their face is down, and I couldn't play very well today, I'll do better next time. And the other one raises the hand and said, I won. And so just like in Olympics, for example, for every winner, there's so many losers. So this is the fun. Krida Arthamiti Chuanmay. Devasya esha svabhavoyam. And so then another one is, this is the one that is closest to the Vedantic view, as we will see. Devasya esha svabhavaha ayam. So the entire creation is in fact the swabhava of Ishvara. Swabhava of Ishvara. There, as you know, just to contrast the word swabhava with swarupa, I think you know this very well. I'm sure we have talked about this in plenty of other times. So there are two words used to describe someone. One is called swarupa and the other one is called swabhava. Swasya bhava, swasya rupa. Swabhavaha, swarupaha. So swarupaha means one which is the innate nature of someone is called swarupa. Swabhava, on the other hand, is also ascribed to the person, but even though it is not the innate nature of the person, capability. So you can say personality and the person. That's one other way to look at it. So the personality is the swabhava and the person is the swarupa. I think Swami Dayananji had really explained it very simply and very effectively. He said that if you look at water, H2O, H2O is the swarupa of water. Then what is the swabhava of water? Swabhava of water is fluidity. The fact that it evaporates at a particular temperature. And then once the temperature drops, it goes back again to it. So these changes in the water which are inherent in it, but not innately inherent in it. The water doesn't have to flow. It can just sit there and not flow until some dam breaks when it starts to flow. Whereas, as far as the H2O nature is concerned, it is always there. So that's the distinction between Swarupa and Swabhava. So here, some people say that the entire creation is nothing but the Swabhava of Ishvara. And then it says, Aptakamasya kaspriha. To underscore this view, which is the Vedantic, this is really the Vedantic view that we will go into more detail in a minute, or sometime, not in a minute, I just say that we'll do that sometime. But to underscore that point, it says, Aptakamasya kaspriha. Aptakamasya means the one who is fully satisfied. How can you have a bhogartham? How can you have a kridartham? How can you have an ichartham? There is no desire for a person who is fulfilled. Kaspriha. So, what desire is possible for that person? There isn't any. So, all you can say is this is the swabhava of Ishvara. Anyway, we'll go into this in a bit more detail. And let's go back into the explanation, starting with verse number 7. Vibhutim prasavam tu anye manyante shrishticintikaha swapnamaya swarupeti shristi anyaihi vikalpita. Now we go into the method of explaining all this in some logical way. And that's what teaching is all about. It is really not what you say, but how you present it, how you convince, how you present the entire argument for what it is. So the reason, the commentary, the explanation, that is the important thing. And so just let's look into that. And this will take a while for us to kind of put together. But so you'll have to keep track of the various strands of these arguments, so that you can put it together in your mind, and at the end it creates a complete picture. And it may not be done only in just the 3 verses. We may have to go further into it, but doesn't matter. Okay. So here Swami Akhandanandaji asks a question. He says, stop. Who are these people who are Shrishti Chintika? What characterizes them? Okay? Very, really important questions, important way of looking at things. He says these are the people who first believe there is Srishti. Srishti is always there. Yeah, of course it is there. We see it. Every day there are things created. So how can you say that you can't even argue that there is no Srishti? So the only question is, we see the Srishti when we try to assign a reason for it. This is characteristic of Srishti Chintika. You know, this was, that reminded me of, I don't remember which of the Swamis had given this example. It might have been Swami Viditatmananda ji or Swami Vidananda, might have been Puja Swamiji himself. But he said, and I can relate to it because this has happened to me. So let's say there's a couple that goes out to, there's some minor problem with the car. And so minor that the people says, like a tire change, let's say. Let's talk about a tire change. You go to a car dealer for a tire change. The tire change means that you don't have to leave the car, and then you only have one car anyway. So you just stick around and move around and look at things and so on and so forth. In the meantime, the tire is being repaired. So there's husband and wife, 2 people. This is what happens. So you go around, you see a number of new cars in the lot. Well, you're just kind of looking at them and say, oh, this is a new model. I hadn't seen this one before. You didn't go there to buy a car. But since the car tire was being repaired, you decided, I'm just going to look around. As you do that, you know what the car sales reps do? They're very sharp. They're looking out from the room and say, aha, there is a couple looking at cars. So he strikes up a conversation. And do you know what this is exactly what I was telling you what happened to me at one time. He doesn't say, do you want to buy a car? That is a wrong way if that sales rep does it, he'll be fired. He says, isn't that a nice color? I'm telling you, this is what happened. My wife was not there at that time. I was alone. And in those days, these hybrid cars had started to come. I'm talking about 8, 9, 10 years ago. So I just happened to go to the BMW dealer in Mountain View. And there was one sales rep who cornered me and said, by the way, this is a brand new color that just came out. Nobody else has it. That immediately got my attention because I was actually already inclined to buy a car. And finally, I started asking this, that. I ended up buying a car from him later on, which was a big disappointment because the hybrid miles were so puny. They said 22 miles, it really gave me 15. Just horrible, just a waste of my money. And I think I took it on a 3-year lease and I returned it a long time ago. Anyway, here's the story. Husband and wife go out and the sales rep says, isn't that a nice color? And usually, we accuse the women to be taken in easily by color and design and this, that, or the other, where the men folk, they talk about value and technology and so on. But in this one particular case, the husband was the one who was really interested in cars. So he got ensnared. He started asking, oh, when did this color come out? And what's and pretty soon, the sales rep started giving them, oh, this one has a special feature. Oh, it's only $1,000 more. But I tell you, that is the husband is getting more and more ensnared into this. The wife pulls him up and said, honey, we don't need to buy a car. There's no need to buy a car. We don't need a car. Our cars, both cars are working very well. Why are we spending so much money doing that? Even looking at it. Oh, then finally the husband got to say, you're right. So tell the sales rep, please go away. So this is kind of like the argument about the Shrishti Chintika. The Shrishti Chintika says, no, the Shrishti is there. The question is, what is the color of the Shrishti? What is the nature of the Shrishti? Is it because of this reason? Is it because of that reason? But it is there. The real question is there a Shrishti or not? So then Swami Akhandananda takes the next step from here. He says, here's the thing. People who are Shrishti Chintika, cosmologists, they are very interested in the very nature of the creation. How did it come about? How long is it going to last? Etc., etc. And the beauty of it, the similarity of one versus the other, they are very interested in the very Srishti itself. It is very much like another example of the same thing, of the car buying, that if you are interested in the design of the ornaments and you find out what a fine work it is, I wonder how this was done, and what is the cost of this, and how is that different from one made in India versus the one made in the West? They're very involved in all of the nature of the ornamentation and so on. and they do not really put any attention into the nature of the metal, the nature of the person who makes the ornaments, the cost of it. They're not concerned about that. They're just totally talking about what is there in front of them, of front of them. Excuse me. Swami Kanananda gives this example. He says one time there's this couple that was looking for a beautiful uh, vigraha of Rama and Sita, and they saw one which just captivated their mind. They kept looking at it, touching it, and they said, "Oh my gosh, we've been looking for something like this for our temple at home, and this looks perfect." So they started asking about the price of it, and yeah, this is really interesting. That reminds me. So we had a relative of my wife's father, a cousin of my wife's father, who came to visit us in the US. He's from New Delhi. I think that gentleman is passed by now. But he was a very successful carpet seller. And what he would do in those long, long days ago, he would have carpets on a rickshaw, maybe an auto rickshaw. And he would go from place to place and ask people, I have a lot of wonderful carpets from Iran, and can I show them to you? So some of the ladies will say, yeah, that sounds good, come on over. So then what does is, he was telling us all this, I remember this so well. He said that I start to spread the carpets one after the other in front of the buyers. And while I'm doing that, I'm extremely careful to watch their eyes. And their eyes, I find, will naturally gravitate towards one or two beautiful carpets. So they will be looking around and they'll go back and look at it one more time. Then they look around and go back to it. He says, all this time I'm watching their eyes. I know that this one carpet is what they are zoning in on, zooming in on. Not zoning, but zooming in on. So he says, I made my decision. So these people say, sir, how much is that carpet? He says, you have really zeroed in on a very expensive one because it has silk in it and this, that, or the other. I'm making too much time out of it. So he says that I raise the prices because I know they really want it. So similarly, when this couple goes to the showroom and he looks at Rama and Sita, and this person must have thought, oh wow, these are the people that need it. He says, how much is it? Oh, that's a very expensive piece. It's been very well made and so wonderful. And so they are by that time so enamored. They both look at each other and said, it's okay. I think we can afford it. Let's just get it. So they bring it home and do not realize what kind of a brittle clay all the clothing was covering. They had no idea about it. And within a day or so, while they were adjusting things and so on, the clay starts to break. and they know its days are numbered. This is absolutely a wrong thing for us to do. Too late. Anyway, so what Swami Vivekananda says is that the Shrishti Chintikas are very much interested in the creation itself, nature of it, how was it put together, how long will it last, the comparison between different ones. Not paying any attention, not to the Shrishti, but the one who is creating the Shrishti. How did the Shrishti comes about? If you put your attention on the creator rather than the created. And if you look at it, you get a different view. So, this is the situation. So he says, if you are ensnared as part of the Shrishti, and you will be, right? Again, the same advice. A very beautiful and a very important advice. Very important advice. This is what I'm saying, that I think that the way you present it is important. Where you draw the conclusion, where do you draw the attention rather? Where do you emphasize? So Swami Vivekananda has been saying that listen, if you put as much, if not more, attention to the nature of the creation as opposed to the creation itself, you'll be much better off. Because, relatively speaking, it is much more immature to be ensnared by the details of the creation, which we are. That person said this to me, and I didn't get the job, and now I think I need to do that. And why do people think of me? This variety of different roles and functions and transactions that we are doing. And we pay no attention whatsoever to, you just, again, the same thing, just like buying a car. You already assume that I am a human being. You assume that. I'm a human being. Now the question is, what kind of a human being am I? Where am I going? Where was I? What can I do to be happier? This is what it is. The whole question is, are you really a human being? The answer to that is no, you're not. You're something totally different. So this is where you cannot say that I am a dream character or I am a waking character. You cannot say that because that doesn't stay. That's not your fulcrum on which everything flows. Here Swami Vivekananda had made this very beautiful point. He really gathered all these strands of arguments and put them all together. You will begin to see this. So he said, and there's a question that one of the students, Maithili Ramakrishnan, just sent me by an email, and I will answer that. Partially, this I'm answering here, but I will also take up her question and then specifically answer that at the end of the class. So Swami Kananda says, listen, Ishvara has no choice but to govern your life as you have made a decision to. And you and I have made a decision that I am affected by my upadhi. Upadhi meaning my sense of individuality. So, for example, the upadhi of the I as a seer, of the mind upadhi as a thinker, the memory upadhi as a person who memorizes the past, a karma upadhi as a one who is a karta. So these are the various sophisticated instruments of my transactions that I have owned. I have owned them. Yes, that's me. That's me. Ishvara says, no, wait. That's not who you are. You are transacting them. You are transacting with them as the help of the upadhi. In a simplified form, Ishvara says you are not the room space. The roomness is your upadhi. You know the meaning of the word upadhi. Upadhi means something which, when associated closely by, tends to affect the nature of something unrelated altogether. That's what an upadhi is. So the walls of the room have nothing to do with space, nothing to do with it. But because they are situated so close to the space, in the space, they can make the space look enclosed. So to go back to clarify what Swami Kandananda's, I was reading this in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya, beautiful books on Brahma Sutra Bhashya, 3 volumes. All the 4 sutras, Athato Brahma Jigyasa, then all the 4 of them, ending with Tattu Samanvayat. In that commentary, he says, Ishvara has no choice but to accept your conclusion. And as the Antaryami, it helps you fulfill those conditions. The conditions are that I am a sum total of my looking at the world through my filters. And those filters have been developed over forever for my all experiences in the past. So this is where our vasanas, prarabdhas, karmas, all of them are fashioning and creating my sense of who I am. And Ishvara says, wait. You are something more than that. You and I, in fact, are the same. You are the Sakshi. But I do not pay any attention to that. Because I'm so, as I said earlier, so busy in my transactions, in the way I am behaving, in the way I am being affected by the world, that I ignore the call of Ishvara to say, wait. This is just an upadhi. Don't you see that? And I don't. To me, my upadhi is me. So here there's a very lovely analysis. This is also given in lots of different textbooks. In Viveka Chudamani, it comes up with this Bheda Abheda analysis. Bheda Abheda. Bheda means difference. Abheda means no difference. So this is the nature of my confusion. Why do I say that? Because if you analyze, is your mind different from you? Like the table in front of you is different from you? No. My mind does not appear to be as different as the table. My thoughts, mind meaning my tendencies, my thoughts. So, if it is not different from you, then it must be you. Not different. Either it is different from you, like a table is different from you. No, my mind is not me. Because I can see the mind coming and going, becoming happy or unhappy, changing, disappearing, reappearing. When I am just observing my mind. So the mind cannot be me. And the mind is neither different from me nor me. So this is what would be called my swabhava. My swarupa is satyam jnanam anantam. Always sat, always chit, and always ananta or ananda. That's my nature. How can we say that is my nature? Here we can go further into this. We can say that is my nature because if you think about it, if you analyze it, if you do vichara, contemplate on it, you will come to the conclusion that you, or I, from your standpoint, I, is the only thing on the whole creation which can never be asat. Can never be of asat. Never. Think about that. You are the only vastu that can be called Sat. I is the only vastu that can be called Sat. No matter what it is, I'm always Sat. And I am the Sat in the form of the Adhishthana, the basis of all experiences happening to me. This is important to see. What do we mean by that? What we mean by that is that all changes must be with respect to the unchanging. No changes are possible without an underlying basis of no change. It's very much like what we were talking about, that my life is like seeing a movie. And the movie has two important ingredients. One is a screen in which all changes are happening. The screen itself cannot change. Supposing the screen itself is blowing in the wind. Supposing you are at an outside, some outdoor cinema, and all of a sudden it starts to blow, and the screen itself goes haywire, sometimes going this. Can you see anything? What movie is possible? So it's very obvious that an ingredient for any kind of a motion, any kind of an action, requires an unchanging adhishthana. Where is that? I am seeing a lot of action in my life. How can you say that? Well, I can see it. All right, if you can see it, don't you see that all that action is based on you as the adhishthana? No, I don't see that. I'm also, I'm not stable. I'm young, old, age. I'm sick, whatever it is. I'm not talking about that young, old, sick. I'm talking about you. Because all the changes require you to be Sat. And you are that Sat. It requires you to be Sat, and you execute it without knowing it. You are the very nature. And so everything else seems to be coming and going. But you always remain the same. I am the Sat. And then the second biggest ingredient, not second biggest, but the second essential ingredient for this tamasha, this whole play to take place is to shine a light on it. You cannot see an action-packed movie or a drama without two things. One is a backdrop, and the other one is a light. Imagine that. If there is no light, you won't be able to see anything. Without a light shining on the objects that you are seeing, you won't be able to be conscious of it. You will not make any sense out of it. Imagine the whole universe being dark. What creation will there be? No creation. So you have to view the creation with your own light. So that's the other very beautiful thing. So the first one is my Swarupa is Sat. Sat Swarupa. Number one. The second one is Aham Chit Swarupa. This is also a very beautiful thing. We had talked about it a few classes ago. I'm bringing that back in. That normally, if you were to see a movie, you would have to find a source of light. Right? So you'll have to find some place where you can find a very powerful set of source of light. When you don't have any light, you'll have to find one. You have to get either plug into the electricity or battery operated, powerful one. Here, I'm watching an enormous movie in front of me. And an enormous set of changes that depend upon the non-changing Sat, me. See this fact. And also see that you do not have to import or buy a lamp to see the world. You are not someone who is importing a light, holding on to it, using it. It's not there. You know why? because you are a natural source of light. You are the light that shows. You're the light that shows the things that are dancing in your Sat. You are the Sat and you are the Chit. And the Sat and the Chit have no limits. You cannot say that my Sat has now run its course and it's gone. You can never say that. Because we can ask you, when did you see your Sat disappear? Oh, that was a couple of days ago. Who saw that Sat? You, the Sat. Can never change that. You are the very Sat. And you can never say that my light has run out of power. Just see the beauty of this. Amazing. You cannot say that my batteries need to be changed. You cannot say that. Because you are the very nature of the light. That is your Swarupa. It's not your Swabhava. Sat is also not your Swabhava. And Chit also is not your Swabhava. And Antam is also not your Swabhava. That is your nature, Anantam. Satyam Jnanam Anantam. But what is your Swabhava? Is it's possible for you to look at yourself as an incomplete being. That is your Swabhava. There is a possibility of ajnanam, of ignorance, which is neither you nor not you. Your mind is neither you nor not you. That is the Swabhava. And that is the Maya Shakti. So the Maya Shakti, which is my own ability to not look at it the right way, is a possibility. What is not a possibility is that I don't have to be Sat. That's not possible. The Sat can never go away. Chit can never go away. Anantam can never go away. That is the Swarupa. But what appears to be there and will go away about it with analysis is the feeling that I am a limited being. So therefore, Swami Akhandananda said that Ishvara has no choice but to go along with you and empower you so that you can be, you can just embrace your upadhi, and that's what you want to be, because you don't know any better. So the upadhi is not you, but for the ignorance of exactly who you are, the upadhi appears to be you also. That is the only thing that can be corrected it will be corrected, in which case your Swarupa becomes very obvious to you. So here in the Shankara Bhashya, again, one of the questions that Maithili had asked me is that she does not cannot read Hindi, and so cannot read the commentary by Swami Akhandananda, but she does read Swami Dayanandji's book with its commentary. Is that okay? Of course it is okay. It doesn't go into as much detail as Swami Akhandananda, but he has gone into a very adequate explanation of Shankara Bhashya in Swamiji's own book. And so both of them are keyed on Shankara Bhashya. But Swami Akhandananda goes into explaining that for the non-students, whereas Swami Dayanandji basically assumes you know some translation, some Sanskrit, and it is meant for more of a classroom explanation. That's the only small difference between them. So here, just look at this enunciation by Adi Shankara. And so this is given on page 332 of the Akhandanandaji's book. I haven't looked it up to see what the equivalent will be, but you can see this in under Karika number 6 for Maithili and others who are doing it. And there is a quotation by Adi Shankara which goes like this. Iti shrishti chintika manyante natu paramarthika chintika nam shristau adaraha ityartha. I'll read one more time. Iti shrishti chintika manyante natu paramarthika chintika nam shristau adaraha ityartha. He says that people who are accepting of their sense of limitation, right? So Shrishti means a real sense of creation where you also take yourself to be a parichinna vastu. Parichinna vastu means one who is a limited being. That's, as I was saying earlier, if you start with the assumption that I'm just a human being, and then from there on you've already made a mistake. It's like saying, I'm going to buy a car. You have never really realized that you don't need to buy a car. So that's what he says, that it is shrishti chintikaha manyante, natu paramarthika chintika nam shristau adaraha. He says that the paramarthika chintika nam, what is the reality? So one is called artha, and the other one is paramartha. So artha means arthyata iti artha. What is desired by people is called artha. Paramartha means the ultimate desire, not the relative desire, but the ultimate desire. So, similarly, in the case of the artha, kama, dharma, moksha. So the artha are things that protect me, ones that I want that protect me. my valuable things. And the basis of that is all the five elements. Akasha protects me. Then Vayu protects me. Agni protects me. Apaha protects me. Prithvi protects me. So the Pancha Mahabhutas are called the five elements that I desire. I need a place to stay. I need water. I need warmth. I need all those five elements. So this is what I need. Arthyate iti artha. But paramartha means, so if I need a place to stay, it is just because right now I don't have a place to stay. So it's a temporary step. And you say, no, this is not going to last. He says, don't worry about lasting. For now, I want this, okay? Paramarthika means where I don't need crutches to live. I'm independent. I don't need any Prithvi, I don't need Jalam. All of those are binding desires. This is what is called Paramarthika. Artham are the five elements. Paramarthika means their common truth. And we can say, you know what the common truth is? The common truth in all the elements, Prithvi, Jalam, Apaha, Jalam means Apaha, Vayu, that they are. The isness of them is their common. Yes, there is Prithvi. Yes, there is Vayu. So the isness of them is the common thing. The question is, where is the isness? Where is the location of the isness? The location of the isness is not in the elements, but in the Sat Swarupam that you are. And this is why you are always there, but your forms can come and go. One day you are young, one day you are old. So the age, the youth is, it borrows from you the isness. The old age is, it borrows its isness from you, but you are the very nature of I am, I am, I am. So this is what is called, in Adi Shankara's language, Paramarthika Chintika, not Shrishti Chintika. And if you are a Paramarthika Chintika, then you have a different view of what Shrishti is. This we will continue on in the further analysis as we cover this viewpoint. Okay? All right. So with that, I close the class, and then I'll take up this one question that Maithili had sent to me, and any other questions that you may ask. Om Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So I don't know if Maitri, my questions have been your questions have been answered, but let me take up, if you don't mind. So I'll just read the relevant portions. So you say my question is regarding the creation. You said creation is manifest, nothing is real, whatever we experience does not exist. If this is true, is it because of the Maya Shakti or is it really Mithya? Or you also said that only Atma is unmanifest and that is the real Sat. What about everything we experience years and years? And then further on, you say that I understand our jivas have no beginnings or endings. Then what about our beliefs, faiths in our gods, etc.? What about our vasanas, karmas, and are these all manifested too? Is this what Shunya philosophy is all about? So this is what you're saying. So yeah, I think that as we have explained, and we will continue to do that, this is all very. I think I'd mentioned it to you that this course is I'm going to take like a PhD level, which means a lot of the stuff that one is already familiar with, you put it all together in a form that makes sense. So, all of the things you said are really true. First of all, the difference between Maya Shakti or is it Mithya? So, the Mithya is simply the ontological explanation as a result of Maya Shakti. Ontological means that Mithya means this is just like we have cosmologists, we have ontologists who say, what is the nature of truth? What do you mean by truth? So, what we say in Vedanta is that there's only not two things, true and not true. There is a third thing which is neither true nor not true. And so that is the explanation of the ornaments of gold. You cannot say that the ornaments do not exist, because they do. You cannot say they always exist, they do not, because they depend upon the gold. Gold is the real existence. So the ontological explanation of something which is neither true nor not true is called mithya. Right? So that is the case, and it is because of the, how can it be? Because that is the Maya Shakti. Maya Shakti means that it is, pardon me, Maya Shakti means that it is, this we will see more and more, that I am a complete being because of the Sat Swarupa and Chit Swarupa. Never not Sat. Never not Sat. I'm a complete being. But I have the ability, you can say that I can express myself as something which is incomplete. That's the Maya Shakti. And that sense of incompleteness is mithya. So you can say it that way. Okay, so that's one thing. Now I think the real revelation of these teachings is that you and I have always been been there. Not a question of when did we begin. We never began. That is the nature of Ishvara. Ishvara is always there. And Ishvara working through us has always been there. So you or I always have been there. So the only question is, how do you take ourselves to be? This is where the flow is, in the sense that we take all of our previous experiences that modify our taking a form or the other, and it always remains my own personal view of how things are. And Ishvara has no choice, because I've accepted that I'm just a human being. And the Ishvara is saying, wait a second, I understand that, but there is a problem. You are not just a human being, you are much more than that. Yes, you are behaving like a human being. That is totally understandable. Under the circumstances, that's perfectly okay. So it's like behaving in some kind of a play. But in reality, you are never changing. You are the Satsvarupa, and so on. So all our previous examples, all the previous lives and so on, is all part of my sense of make-believe. So this is what I was saying earlier before, that it appears that I am just the effect of a number of things going on, including my parents and the family all coming together, making me a newborn, etc. The fact of the matter is that it is really my own design. I accumulate all of the nimitta karanam that creates in me a sense of exactly who I am. And this will continue forever. And the nature of that is, it's Satsvarupa, and until I understand that, I will keep on playing this role. Anyway, I'm covering a lot of different grounds to explain your question, so I will continue to do so. I've already talked about Swami Akhandananda's book, so I think Swami Dayanandaji's book will be wonderful also, but it does not have as much explanation as Swami Akhandanandaji's book. So anyway, very happy you wrote to me, and I hope that answers some of the questions. Okay, wonderful to see you all, and I will hopefully see you on Saturday. Hari Om.